This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at the Eastern Shore, USA. This is a 4X map, so it is available for PC only and can be downloaded from simplysafemods.com, and there is a link in the description to get the map. Now, when you download the map, you do need to follow some very special instructions with respect to unzipping the download and moving all 32, that's right, 32 of the required mods into your mod folder. Now, do not be turned off right now. The reason there are 32 mods is going to be explained here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to a segment that I've already recorded that talks about basically downloading, unzipping, and placing those mods into your mod folder. So after downloading the map, you will have the es_unzipme file in your downloads folder. Do not put this into your mod folder. You need to unzip it. In order to do that, you need to right click and say extract all, and then walk through the process to extract it. And it will extract it to an es_unzipme folder. Inside of this folder, you're going to find 32 mods, including the map and a text file. Yes, you're going to need to copy all of these mods and put it into your mod folder. Now, the reason there are 32 mods is to allow the map to fit on a dedicated server. So yes, CCS 101 could have put all of these mods into a single zip for the map, and that is what you put into your game folder, but would have been too big to have been uploaded to a multiplayer server. So it had to be broken out like this in order for it to be able to be uploaded to a multiplayer server. Yes, it will fit on a multiplayer server. That is where we did all of the multiplayer testing before the map released. Now, the es_unzipme file list is a very handy file. I suggest you open it up if you're ever curious as to what any of these are, because it gives you a little bit of an explanation as to what each particular zip is for. Some are required because they are embedded in the map, and if you don't have them, well, the map just won't either work or won't look correctly based on how it looks in my video. Or some of these are optional, like the above ground storage. Anhydrous transport is a complementary mod. It's an add-on. It's not required unless you want to transport anhydrous, which is available in the map, and we'll get to that stuff in the video. A very, very, very important note here at the bottom, and that is because some of these are mods that are on the Giants Mod Hub or official Giants mods, like, for example, Precision Farming. This uses an edit of Precision Farming to allow for compost and anhydrous. If you put this file into your mod folder, Giants is going to want to update it. It's going to basically say this mod needs an update. Do not update it under any circumstance. If you do, you will replace the edited version with the default version, and compost and anhydrous will stop working. This also holds for some other of these mods, so just ignore the update prompt if you see it, especially if you're on a dedicated server. It's going to want to update some of these. They are edited versions to work specifically for this map. Do not update them, or as the description says, it will break the functionality used on this map. This video is brought to you by Dave Demented. Thank you for being a farm baron. Now, this map has a bit of a storied history. The Eastern Shore, USA, in its name, is a map that was going to come out in FS17. It didn't quite make it in FS17, and now it's been actually re-envisioned for FS19 and is finally here for everyone to play. At the heart of this map is a recreation of a rather popular map. I personally enjoyed this map from FS17. It was named Churn Farms. In fact, I did a 24-day seasons playthrough on that particular map. And during the map tour, I'll point out basically where the Churn Farm map is, as opposed to kind of the expansion around the Churn Farm map in order to make it a 4X map. This map is located in a fictional area east of Richmond, Virginia, somewhere between Richmond, Virginia and the Atlantic Ocean. Now with that, let's go ahead and jump on in. We're going to go ahead and select the mods that are included with the download, as well as various DLC, because CCS 101, who is the map author, has added some select DLC equipment to the map that you're going to be able to make use of if you start the game with that equipment selected. So with that, let's go ahead and run through the mods. You want to make sure you select the above ground storage mod, as well as the animal pen extension and animal screen extended mod. We have an apple tree mod that you're going to want to activate, as well as the backhoe manufacturing grain bins and the bale stacks mod. Now the bale stacks mod is an edited version of the bale stacks mod that is in the Giants mod hub. So if you already have that downloaded, it's probably going to prompt you to replace it. You want to replace it because this includes support for alfalfa and quite possibly corn stalk straw. We also have the branch auger, the Brock bin Rusty, cement silo ES, the compost fermenter, the corn dryer, the Farm King auger, farm buildings pack, farm deco pack, fillable fuel grain double, and fillable fuel tank. Then we have the flower production ES, the small GSI bin and the large GSI bin. We have the outdoor silo type A, as well as the herbicide fill tank. The LSFM universal tank pack, Mr. Anhydrous bulk trailer, the Meridian bin smooth, the milk production ES, the old corn dryer, the placeable metal seed fill trigger with auger, placeable US pack edit, precision farming edit with anhydrous ammonia and compost. We have the Razwood Factory ES. We have the Eastern Shore of the map itself, the Wooden Farmhouse, Westfield Auger, and the Workshop Old Red. Those are all mods in the map that are going to be required. Should you not activate those mods, you will find the map will look completely different than it does in this video. If that is the case, then you need to go through and make sure you have actually activated all of the mods. Now I'm going to go in and activate DLC and the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these maps. That way we can go ahead and jump on in. Make sure we get our Mahindra or we won't be able to drive around. There we go. This map is season prepared with a custom seasons mask and a custom geo that is built into the map. So it is using a custom geo that is built to emulate the crop seasons and the weather cycles of Virginia. This map also includes a custom soil map, and we're going to be taking a look at that when we load on in. If you load this map up in Farm Manager or start from scratch, you're going to find the map exactly identical to how it is in New Farmer mode, because the way CCS 101 builds his maps, he plans them out with farms pre-built, but when you buy the farm, you can sell all of the buildings, decorative bits, and such that are on the map and on the farm. That way you can really just make it out yourself. That was a big old mouthful. So let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. I will zoom on out and you'll see that this portion right here that I am outlining is the original Churn Farm. This portion right here. So it goes down to the water, comes up basically right here, if you will. And then it goes this way. And then the rest of the land up to the top and around on the western side is all new expanded part of the map. This map does include all of the standard crop types available to us here on Farm Sim 19, with the exception of sugarcane. We do not grow sugarcane in Virginia, so it is not available to grow on this map either. This map does include alfalfa, so technically it is multi-fruit. You go ahead and take a look at the lands area. You're going to see that there is a ton of land to be bought on this map, and there are a ton of farms to be bought. In fact, there are a total of, I believe, 5 or 6 farms. Let's go ahead and point those out right now. There is a pig and sheep farm that can be bought right here. You can buy the sheep area for $102,896. It has its own farmhouse. You can buy the pig area for $37,000. That includes, again, its own farmhouse. There is an arable farm over here, right by field 17 and 18. It can be bought for $65,000. There is a dairy operation over here by field 11 and 13 for $159,000. We have a chicken farm for $70,184 down by field 1. We have a large dairy operation over here by fields 50, 57, and 58 that can be purchased for $233,000. It actually has 2 unique cow pastures. We have an open pasture and a barn pasture. And then all the way to the north, we have a horse farm that can be bought for $60,205. Now, while we're up here, let's go ahead and talk about all of these green spaces. All of these green spaces can be bought. You can clear the trees and do whatever you want with. Imagine no man's land-esque, if you will. You can make your own little map up here to the north. We have large plots, small plots, medium plots, and even if you want to buy yourself a little plot over here by the lake, maybe a little lake house, vacation home, you can do that also because there are 3 lots, available. Speaking of house lots, we also have down here in town a few particular plots. We have a house plot right here, $14,000. Then we have a vacant lot right beside it for $23,000. And then over here, we have a contractor yard. This is not buyable land. This is land, basically, that is, dare I say, unbuyable, like I said. But there is machinery there that you can make use of. Let's zoom on out because we also have something else to show off. There is an apple orchard over here in this particular area of the map. It is $63,857. And periodically, we're going to see fields like this one right here, which is an old abandoned field. It's full of withered crops and trees. The only way to make use of that particular field is going to be to clear the trees and plow up the soil so that you can then make use of that particular farm. Let's go ahead and take a look at our custom soil map. So you see the map is predominantly loam with a little bit of sandy loam showing through around the water areas and a little bit of silty clay in the low-lying areas. Now, there are some fields here on the old Churn Farm part of the map that are not showing soil types. You will need to do a manual scan of these particular fields in order to see the soil type exposed. Let's go ahead and check out the sell points available on the map. So we have a pair of sell points that are available for most of our crops. We have Churn Granary A and B that will buy select grain crops. We also have Coastal Feed and East Coast Grain Systems. We do have dedicated sell points for our root crops as well as our cotton and wool. We have a pair of sell points for our eggs, and the dairy is going to offer to buy our milk. We also have production on the map, and we're going to talk about that when we get around to the various production elements. This map does not use the global company mod, so you do not have to activate or have the global company mod in order to make use of the production. There is a biogas plant on the map. In fact, let's go ahead and point that out. Biogas plant is right here. It can be purchased for $138,800. And while we're here, let's go ahead and point out all of the various production elements. So Razwood Factory, which is right here, is $9,124. it will produce what is called pre-compost. Pre-compost is going to be used to make compost. You have to own the BGA, and if you own the BGA, then you will own the compost bunkers, and this is where you can make your compost that you can then sell for a handy profit. Over here at Supreme Milk, there is a building beside the dairy that will allow you to make evaporated milk for a handy little profit. You will need to have to buy that little building in order to do that. That can be bought for $13,500. Down here on the bend, there is a mill that you can use to produce flour. That has to be bought for $16,227. And then you can deliver certain crops to there and basically get flour pallets. We have production up here at the apple orchard, which I have mentioned. We also have over here this particular plot, which is $11,458. Sorry. It is a corn dryer. It is going to be used to obviously dry corn for quite a handy profit. We're going to talk about that when we get over to that. And then there's also a corn dryer over here on the pig farm. So if you own the pig farm, then you also have a corn dryer, and we're going to talk about that here shortly. And that should be all of the production. If not, I'll remember as we do our map tour. You can see we also have compost. Like I say, you can get compost for a nice pretty penny if you want to sell that. We have alfalfa, we have alfalfa hay, we have corn straw, then we have apples, flour, dried corn, evaporated milk, and then of course our hay and straw pellets. All of our equipment is owned. None of it is leased, but there is a lot more equipment on the map than we can just have available to us in the garage. So that is going to be a little bit of a kind of, dare I say, a barn find adventure, going around and figuring out where possibly random pieces of equipment might be located that you don't own, but you can still make use of. We do not have any animals at the start, and we do have contracts available to us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting equipment that we actually do own. We have the John Deere 6155M and the K7210 Pro as our starting tractors. We have the pickup truck 1978 variety. We have the AgriLiner TKD 302 trailer and the Agrimaz BTC 50H cultivator. We have the Stara Series Master 3570 seeder and the Optima 5 planter. We have the Deltas 1302 sprayer and the K105 lime and fertilized spreader. We have the New Holland Discbine 313 to do our mowing of alfalfa, hay, straw, and grass. We also have the Roll Belt 150 that will also bale our corn straw. We have the Flegel round bale picker upper. Then we have front loader arms, pallet fork, and then we have a farmhouse sleep trigger, which is placed here at our starting point, which is a house that we can't own because it's owned by a historical society that we are just allowed to stay at, but we can sell the sleep trigger if we wish to put down our own sleep trigger somewhere else. So with that all said, let's start taking a look at this map. So like I said, we start on here. This is our career start point, and it is at the Churn Valley Historic Restoration Society's kind of entertainment house. Our pickup truck is located right here, so this is a truck that we can make use of. And we can go inside of the house. All of the farmhouses on this map can be entered into. And then our sleep trigger for this particular farmhouse is right here off of the kitchen. We could also enter our exit through the garage, should we so wish. Very slow garage door, I must say. And there we go. So at this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is get set up for the fly around. We're going to fly around the map, and then we're going to come back to the shop, get our Mahindra like we typically do, and drive around the map, taking a look at all the sell points, as well as the farms, and talking about each farm individually. Now, the original Churn Farm map was a very hilly map, and that is basically continued on to this iteration. And you'll really be able to tell, I think, when you move from the Churn Farm area into the non-historical society area. And that is kind of the storyline of this particular map, is that this side of the ridge is controlled by the historical society, which has been painstakingly trying to recreate an area of England. And then we have the rest of the eastern shore off on the other side of the ridge. You can see all of the available no man's land-esque build your own map area there off to the side. Down below we have our arable farm. Then we have our dairy over there. Off in the distance we have our BGA, our compost bunkers, our pig and sheep farms. Coming around to the side, we have our port and our mill and our Raswood pre-compost facility. Directly in front of us at this point, we have the chicken farm. Off in the distance, we also then have the large dairy, and then down directly below, we have a small dairy here on the Historical Society. So the shop is located right in front of us, so we're going to kind of swing on around and come back to it. This map also has dynamic mud. So if you play on this map with seasons, you will notice that there is mud where there is mud looking dirt. And then also the mud will get deeper if it gets wet, basically when it is raining and we have wet ground. So as we move over here to the east side of the map, directly below, you can see our pig farm. And then just beyond the field, we have our small sheep farm. We have our biogas plant over here, as well as several greenhouses and our compost bunkers. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of swing around and get a little altitude. And then we'll move over here to the barren area. Again, this area over here, you can clear the trees and make the land whatever you want. Build out whatever you want. Carve in the fields however you want beyond this lake region. Like I said in the intro, there's also some land that you can buy right here along the lake. Maybe have a little vacation home. The lake even includes a nice little boat ramp. All of this land over here to the right continues that build your own farm, build your own map concept. Kind of hidden here in the trees, we have the horse farm. And I will say that all of the bins on this map are the single grain silo bins that require an auger to fill and empty. We'll talk about those when we look at the shop in a little bit more detail here in a few minutes. But basically, you're gonna get very comfortable with using the auger bins. Or the augers and these bins, or you can sell the bins and put down your own auger, or put down your own bin system should you so wish. We do have the sawmill over here for selling of logs. There's a set of bins over here that you can also make use of. Up here on the hill, we have the apple orchard I mentioned. You'll also find some random trees in some fields that you'll have to clear and then plow up the fields in order to make use of these. Basically, consider these kind of like abandoned fields. The farmer is no longer using them, and as a result, kind of nature is trying to reclaim the land. Now, if we double back over here, there is a sell point over here that will also allow you to buy bulk lime as well as bulk pig food. We'll talk about it more once we get over here. As we approach the town, it is going to get very busy. There's a ton of stuff going on in this town. The icons sadly overlay each other. The words are overlaid, so it's sometimes a little hard to understand what's going on. But when we get into town, we'll try to explain it all as thoroughly as possible. But just know that there is a huge amount of stuff available here, from purchasing bulk seed, bulk lime, bulk fertilizer, anhydrous, propane, to a sell point, to the contractor yard. There's a sell point here for your apples, amongst other things. We have fuel. I mentioned there was a couple buyable plots of land. One of those is right here below the rectangle. And then the one that has the half-built house is also buyable. We have some bins on this particular property, as well as one of the corn dryers I mentioned. And we're going to explain how the corn dryers work, so just be a little bit patient. We have farmhouse and a greenhouse here for the dairy farm. Then we have the larger dairy farm here with some fermenting silos to make silage. So we have the dairy barn, and then we have the open pasture. Now, this particular farm on the hill is kind of an abandoned farm. It is actually buyable land, and if you buy it, you can actually sell all of the buildings on this farm, and some of the old trees you can sell to clear out of the way. You can clear out the trash, and in theory, you can kind of build out a little farm up here on the hill. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the PDA and see what this little bit of land costs. So you can buy this little plot of land for $28,800 and really make a go of it. And let me show you what I'm talking about with respect to when you buy the land, you can then sell the buildings. So let's go back to our garage and once again, see what we have. We've got the sleep trigger, and then we have the machinery. And that is all that is in our garage at this point. So if I come in here and I buy this, so now if I go to my garage, you're going to see that I have an old dead oak. It's going to cost me $600 to have that removed. I have an old barn. It's going to cost me $5,000 to have that removed. I can actually sell the old farm junk and get $250, $150 for that junk. And it's going to cost me $5,000 to tear down the house as well as the farm shed. So I could clear all of this if I want, and then make use of this land however I want moving forward. Or you can just leave it here and it'll be a nice kind of touch to the environment. Over here we have our animal dealer as well as bulk buy points for manure and slurry at quite the discounted rate. And remember what I said about random things scattered around that you don't own that you can use? Well, the folks here at the animal dealer, they are nice enough to let you use this Joskin animal trailer. Now, of course, you are expected to return it after using it, but it is available here for you to make use of. Over here, you have the bulk manure and slurry buy point, like I mentioned. Now, I do want to point out up here in the hill, there is tucked away a nice little grass field fairly steep, so you want to be careful about using your equipment on this field. But someone has come through at some point in time and done some logging on this hillside and basically cleared out a big section and put some grass down. So now you can buy this and basically use that as a nice little hillside to mow some grass. Now we are moving into the old historical Churn Farm part of the map. If you ever played the Churn Farm in FS17, this area right here was the map border, and there was basically a tunnel entrance right here to delineate the end of the map. So everything behind me and to the west that we've already looked at, that is all kind of the expanded area. Here we have the chicken farm right next to the Churn Farm Historical Society Visitor Center. And we have several little plots, little gardens, if you will, that you could, if you had some small farm machinery, actually make use of, or you could merge them together if you want, whatever you want to do. We have a chicken coop. We have some small buildings. We have a pair of greenhouses that you can use, manure and water to get a little bit of income per hour. And then we have a farmhouse. And like I said, if you buy this, you'll be able to sell every building you see here, as well as some old dead oaks. You don't have to pay to have removed. You can also get rid of the fence that surrounds this area, and then truly just redesign it and make it your own. As we move on, we have the mill just past the lake here. This is the flour mill. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we get around to the drive-through. The drive around. We have the port, and there's a lot going on at the port. Several sell points for grain, your root crops, wool. We'll cover all of these sell points in detail. Just past the port, we have some sheds that you can make use of. And then down the hill, we have the Razwood facility. That is what's going to make pre-compost, and we'll talk about that when we get around to the drive around. There's little areas scattered around the map like this one here that actually has 2 grain bins that you can make use of. You can also, I believe, buy this land. Let's go ahead and just check. Looks like this land is owned by the Historical Society, but it is land that you can make use of. In fact, there is a water tower here where you can get water, and there is some lime and seed pallets here that you can make use of. And then there's also some tanks over here of liquid fertilizer. Just a little tidbit of information. This used to be a sell point on the old Churn Farm map. Now it is just a nice little restaurant. Here we move on to the biogas plant with 2 large pull-through bunkers. There's also machinery at the biogas plant that you can make use of. We'll talk about that when we get around to the drive around. We've got some sheds here, and then the compost bunkers. And then behind that are some greenhouses that, again, will allow you to earn some income per hour. I believe we've already talked about the sheep and pig farms. Let's just go ahead and double back. Kind of fly off in this general direction and make our way back to the shop. Now, if you do farm on this hilly terrain, you will want to make sure that you have plenty of ample horsepower and quite possibly work across the incline as opposed to up and down, because it will be some pretty tough going. That is for sure. Just like any other CCS 101 map, the collisions are on with respect to poles that might be in the fields. This area of the map also has collisions on its hedges, but there aren't any collisions on the hedges on the other side of the hill over on the new area. So here we are at the shop, and the shop actually has some machinery that you can make use of that is available for loan. There is John Deere harvester here that you can make use of, as well as this particular tractor right here, 7R. The harvester headers are located over here. So there is a grain header and corn header over here that will work with that particular harvester also. The rest of the machinery here at the shop, is just decorative. The buy, sell, trade, and repair trigger is right here at the service building. There is that marker, and you just pull your stuff up like so. And then the shop icon is around front. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. And while we're here, let's go ahead and kind of walk through some of the things that are unique and are included with this particular map. And that is under tools. We have anhydrous ammonia category. These are tankers that are going to be used to transport anhydrous and propane. Very important that you hear me say this. These tanks will transport anhydrous and propane. We also have the augers. The Brandt auger will be used to empty the grain bins, and the Westfield auger or the Farm King are going to be used to fill the grain bins. Just like that. We have the LSFM Universal Tank Pack. This is going to be used to transport things like milk, fuel, and all of your liquids. Over under belt systems, we also have the Batco augers. These are also going to be used to fill the grain bins. And the Batco auger, this one right here, the PS 2400, is going to be very, very useful with respect to filling the fermenting silos that are on the map. Another item that you may wish to use to fill the fermenting silos is the Rapide 580, because it has side discharge. And that is very important when it comes to the fermenting silos. And I'll try to point that out when we get to that area of the map. Under placeables, you're going to be able to place the pig pen, cow pasture. Then, of course, all of these are part of the various mod packs that are included with the map. We have the corn dryer, so you can place your own corn dryer. It takes corn and propane. You can buy bulk propane, or you can buy tanks of propane here at the shop. Placeable yard lights, a water tank. Then we have placeable flower greenhouses, lettuce greenhouses, tomato greenhouses. We have placeable apple trees that take water and manure and make crates of apples. Then we have the bale stacks. And this is a modded variant of the bale stacks. It allows you to put down square straw, hay, grass, silage, round straw, hay, grass, silage. And then we also have the ability to put down alfalfa stacks, I believe, as well as possibly corn straw stacks. We have the compost fermenter. This can be used in order to make compost if you don't wish to use the Razwood facility. It takes diesel fuel and pre-compost and makes compost. Then we have the vehicle workshop under miscellaneous. Under silos, we have The rock rusty bin, it takes all of your traditional grain silo or grains, holds 471,000 liters of crop. We have the above ground storage, which is good for potatoes, sugar beets, and wood chips. We have the fermenting silo, which will take chaff, grass, or alfalfa and make silage. Then we have the large GSI bin, which again will hold all of our grain crops and hold 1,385,000 liters of product. We have the small little silo here that will hold our pig food, fertilizer, lime, and seed. With a fillable herbicide tank that will hold our herbicide. The Meridian bin, which will hold grains as well as seed, lime, and fertilizer. The Razwood factory, the small GSI bin, which will hold 392,000 liters of product. And all of these grain bins have a script in them that restricts them to only holding one grain product at a time. So if this grain bin holds corn, you can't put anything other than corn in it until you empty it. Once you empty it out, then you can put whatever you want back in it. We have various fuel tanks scattered around. These are fillable, so you can put fuel in and take fuel out. Then we have our hayloft. Various decorative buildings. And then we have a numerous amounts of sheds. And as I said, every building, every piece of trash on every farm is sellable once you buy the farm. So you can basically use the farm as it is, or you can basically clear buildings that you don't want, put down buildings you do want, or clear the whole thing out and basically start from scratch at that point. Wow, so that was a whole lot there too. Most of these sell points also have open and close hours. I think at this point we should be well beyond the opening hours, so we shouldn't have any issues there, but it is something to be sure to remember, especially if you have a contract for something late at night, that the building or the sell point may close before you are done. So the Historical Society area of the map does include speed bumps. These guys don't want you going fast around here because this is a historical area. It is a little bit annoying, but hey, you got to deal with local ordinances, don't you? Let's go ahead and take a look around the old cow barn. Now, both of these gates have triggers, and there is a trick to this. You need to walk into one gate, activate it. Then you need to walk out of that trigger and walk into the other trigger in order to activate it. You can't just open a gate and then slide into the other trigger. It won't work. So these do have collisions, just so you're aware. Anything on the historical side of this map does indeed have collisions. No, you cannot cut the hedges down. You cannot hit a little switch to turn off the collisions. This is not a map for beginners. This is a map for experienced players. But if you want to, you can also play on the other side of the hill in the new area of the map that doesn't have these collisions. So here we have the dairy operation. We have a fuel tank, and it should have some fuel already in it. Let's go ahead and walk up and see if we get a prompt. Nope. So there should be fuel already in it. This is where you put fuel in. This is where you get your fuel out. You do have a farmhouse in here. And actually, I need to buy this before I can demonstrate these triggers for you. Go ahead and buy the dairy. And now that we've bought the dairy operation, we can activate all the triggers and such. So there is your sleep trigger right there at the door. You could also go inside if you wished. So we have our input, we have our output. We have a service trigger here. And if you wanted to, you could delete this trigger and all the machinery. We do have a maintenance trigger here. Then we have a fairly large cow pasture. So here at the bin, we have our water trigger conveniently marked. And if you have Animal Pen Extension mod activated when you start your game save, you will already have these pipes pre-placed. Inside you have your food trough and your straw trigger. The straw trigger should accept bales, so you won't need to use a bale shredder if you don't want to, but you have your food trigger here and your straw. You can activate the fans if you want. And then this is where you're going to load your animals. 100 cattle in this particular pasture. And also raise the curtains up, should you so wish. We have our slurry point and our manure point located right there. Inside of this big barn, we actually have some bale stacks pre-placed. So here we have a hay stack for square bales and a straw stack for square bales. We can sell the junk here if we want, and then put down our own bale stacks also on that side of the building. Or if we want, we could sell the stacks, we could sell the building, we could sell the junk, and do whatever we wanted with. Here we have a hayloft. So we have our hayloft output, and we have our hayloft dump station. The other side of the building is just farm storage. Like that. Let's make our way over here to the fermenting silos. There should be some chaff already in these silos, so we should be able to start with a little bit of silage. So this one has 3,891 liters of silage in it. So you have your output pipe here. This output pipe looks low, but it is tall enough so that you can pull underneath it with a TMR mixing wagon or a small trailer. If you have a large trailer, it's not going to fit under here. It's not designed to transport large trailers or accommodate large trailers. We have 4,700 liters of silage in that one. And we put our chaff or grass or alfalfa in on this side, and this is where you need either a side unload trailer or you need the belt that I mentioned, because the trigger, like I said when I pulled into the farm, this is not a map for beginners. This is a map for people that want to work for their gameplay. The trigger to fill this silo is inside this box. So you either need a side unload or you need to put that auger across here to then unload the belt into there. We did do several streams of this map's testing. I will suggest going and taking a look at some of those live streams where we demonstrate how to use the bins, the augers, and such. And I think the only thing that we have missed here is the milk trigger, which should be possibly right. Milk trigger is right around here. Sorry, these guys don't make milk. Okay. I don't know why I don't know why I kept calling this a dairy farm. All right, let's head on down the street and check out the arable farm. So the Historical Society house that we start out with is right over here on our left. And you may notice when you load this map up, you don't own any farms at the start. That is because the way the map is designed, it's designed for you to start as a contractor, using the freely available equipment at the contractor yard and the buildings at the contractor yard, working your way up to basically buy a farm and basically move on in. So let's swing on around here and move into kind of the arable farm. Like I said, open that gate, back out of the trigger, and come into here, and then you can open up both gates. So again, everything on this particular farm, as I have shown you, is buyable. And once you buy the farm, you'll be able to sell every single thing on this farm. You can make it into a completely blank piece of land and put down your own buildings and basically build out everything out yourself. So here we have a workshop barn. Some more garage sheds and whatnot. We have our diesel tank, our herbicide tank, some meridian bins that may or may not already have product in them. That one's empty, that one is empty, and that one is empty. We have our farmhouse over here. And we need to go up. And then once we get up to the loft, we can sleep. We have a big machine shed. And then we have a collection of grain bins. So we have some rusty bins over here. This one has 38,000 liters of barley in it. 78,000 liters of canola. And 85,000 liters of sunflowers. And the way this works is you need to put the branch auger underneath of this. Then you need to enter the branch auger and hit R to fill the auger. And then it holds 10,000 liters of product. Then pull a trailer underneath the auger, and then it will basically empty into your trailer. To fill these bins, you need to basically put an auger here at the top. You notice that there is a trigger here at the top. You can probably see that box. That is a trigger marker. Basically, you need to put either the Westfield auger or the Farm King auger or the backhoe auger and position it such that its output pipe is over the center of the tank, and then you'll be able to fill these tanks. Again, these tanks have a script that requires or that allows only one grain to be in any one bin at a time. So this bin is empty, so you can put any grain in here and it will store just that grain until you empty it. This particular bin holds 130,000 liters of corn. So the only thing you can put into this bin until you empty it is going to be corn. Some more storage. Some of the farms already have lights at them. You can sell these lights if you sell or if you buy the farm. Some more sheds. This holds 8,000 liters of seed currently, 12,000 liters of seed, and 192 liters of seed. And you'll see that since we bought this, our garage is now much more extensive since we bought those two pieces of property. Lots of old dead oaks, lots of bins, lots of silos, lots of buildings. So like I said, you can use these farms as they are built, or you can change them around to your own desires. There's various ways in and out of this particular farm, but we're just going to kind of loop out over here. There's a nice little area behind that up on the hillside. I'll let you kind of explore that on your own. It's another one of those abandoned fields up there. Here we are coming around to the dairy. This is also where you can manufacture evaporated milk as part of the production that is available on the map. The trigger here is to sell milk, and the trigger behind us is to use the evaporated milk facility. Again, you need to buy this facility for $13,500. And when you do that, then you'll be able to put milk into here. And then around the back, you'll get your evaporated milk out as pallets. So the evaporated milk will spawn in right there as pallets. And then you can take that evaporated milk and sell it at the commodities wholesalers. Now we'll make our way over to the pig farm and the sheep farm. If we turned right at that intersection, we would have been taken right back around to the shop. So here we go. Over the bridge and around the bend. There is a road over here to the left that will take us over and basically link us up with the farm that we were just at. So it's kind of a back way over here. That road is located right there. There's also some forestry back up on that hill. So I'd encourage you to go explore that area on your own. And here we have the pig farm. So let's go ahead and buy this pig farm for $37,000 basically. So at the pig farm, we have another pair of rock bins. These bins have 31,000 liters of corn and 191,000 liters of corn. And what's so handy about those is here is one of the corn dryers that you can make use of. And the corn dryer, where is the trigger? Corn dryer takes propane, corn, and makes dried corn. Now, I have forgotten to point out something else here in the shop. You can buy 2,000 liters of anhydrous or 2,000 liters of propane here in the shop under pallets. Or you can buy bulk product. And as I said earlier, if you buy bulk product, you can transport it with the anhydrous ammonia tanks, both ammonia and propane, as you can see down here. So you'd bring the propane and fill the tank, obviously. You would dump your regular corn into here, and then you would get your dried corn out of the pipe. We have our pig enclosure over here. And we have our pig trigger, 1,500 About 60 pigs in this particular area. We have our water trough. Inside here, we have our food trough and our straw trigger. So we have our food trough, straw trigger. We have our slurry point, and we have another Brock bin over here. $121,000 liters of canola. You can clear out this old dozer and concrete, should you so wish. As well as everything else here on the farm, like I've said. So a workshop. Then we have a combination barn farmhouse. And we do have a couple pallets of pig food. And then if we go in the door here, we are in our farmhouse, and then we have our sleep trigger. Decent little bale shed. And that is the pig farm. Now, if we continue down the road here, we're going to come to the sheep farm. The PDA kind of has them combined. I kind of think of them as separate because we do have separate farmhouses. They are separate viable areas. So here we have the small farmhouse for the sheep. And this house is a little tricky. It's because there's 3 doors here. And here you have your sleep trigger. Of course, I have to remember to buy it. So here we have our sleep trigger. It's just a random shed over here we can make use of. It's just kind of abandoned. Here we have our sheep delivery point as well as our food trough. 80 sheep in this particular pen. Around the corner we have our wool spawn point. And then we have our water trigger, or if we use the animal pen extension mod, we have our water pipe activation point right there. And that is pretty much the sheep farm. It's a nice little field right over here beside it. And then there's a little road that connects us to the pig area. Right here. So let's continue on around the map. Still around the old Churn Farm part of the map. You can see some of the very hilly fields over here on the right. Very steep inclines. And make sure you have plenty of horsepower. Now we're coming up to the BGA Garden Center area. This is all one buyable plot of land. So let's go ahead and buy that for $138,000, basically $139,000. And in here we have several cucumber greenhouses that we can supply water and manure to earn some income per hour. And those are located right here. There you can see some of the mud kicking up. Now, if you do find you have an issue with performance on the map as a result of the mud, I do have a how-to video on how to turn the mud off, should you so wish. Let's do a little barn find, see if there's anything in here we can maybe play with. No, but there's plenty of storage. Now, we haven't talked about the Razwood pre-compost facility yet, but after you make compost, this is where you come to drop it off. These two bunkers will take pre-compost only, and you'll make compost just like you make silage. You'll compact it, blanket it, and then let it cook for a little while, and then you will get compost that you can then sell for quite a handy profit. If you're looking for a place to sell wood chips, well, right here you go. So pretty much anywhere you find water puddles like that, you're going to find the mud kicking up. And here we are at the biogas plant. We have two large pull-through bunkers. We have our digester and our digestate. But that's not all. Down here, we have some equipment that we can make use of. So the BGA has an 8R, as well as a Joskin trailer, a New Holland wheel loader, and a New Holland forage harvester that we can make use of, both with a chaffing head and a pickup head, kind of a windrow pickup head. So that machinery is available for you to use. Of course, it's not available for you to sell. It's only available for you to use. It's property of the biogas plant. And as such, they do expect you to return it. Next stop, we have a little side area that we took a look at on the fly around that has some bins and the seed pallets and whatnot. That is right here. We'll turn. If we continue to follow this road up the hill, there is a water tower on our left that you can use to get water, although you will have to pay to get water out of there. And then inside of here we have those two liquid fertilizer totes. We can get free water from this particular tank. We have some, I believe, lime bags and fertilizer pallets. And then we have two more Brock bins that we can use for grain storage. Now we're going to go check out the Razwood facility. That is where we can take and bring various goods. And then including diesel, and then make pre-compost. If you're tired of all your work, you want to go down the beach, that's the road you want to take. We have Razwood down here on the left. Do have a few sheds up here that we can make use of. So we have our dump station and our output right there. And if we come here to the office, we'll have our information. So this facility will take manure and straw or corn stalks or sugar beets or potatoes, and we get pre-compost as an output. So they do not take fuel. That's a different iteration of the Razwood facility. And then, like I say, you take the pre-compost over to the compost bunkers just past the biogas plant, which we already took a look at. All right, so there is a lot going on here. First, we have a sell point for cotton, East Coast cotton shippers. We move further down the dock. We have a buy point for bulk fuel. Right here, you can get bulk fuel at a discount. Now, do note, this trigger will not allow refueling of vehicles. This trigger will only allow the filling of fuel tanks. So an LSFM tank or one of the fueling Bowser that's base game, the GTX refueling trailer, maintenance trailer can fill from here, but you cannot refill a vehicle from this tank. And then here we have Mid-East shipping. And Mid-East shipping is going to be a sell point for your flour. Now, there are two grain sell points down here at the dock. Those are located right here. And you want to come in here with a trailer that does not tip vertically. So we have Granary A for dry corn and sunflowers, and Granary B for corn, wheat, soybean, and canola. Both of those tip inside of here. And then around back, we have a sell point for potatoes and sugar beets. Down here we have a sell point for wool. And we have the commodities wholesalers also. And that's the dock. A lot of going on down here, as you would expect at a port. And if no one has ever seen this, there's a bit of action going on here at the potato facility. Some sorting of potatoes. Nice little animation. Next stop, the flower facility. We have a big old field 25. Man, why did they put sugar beets in there? So this building here is where you're going to basically drop off grain for the purpose of making your flour. And here at the office is where you're going to get your info screen. After, of course, you buy it. Back here, a little plot of land, $16,000. Diesel fuel, wheat, barley, and oats. So remember where I told you to get bulk diesel? Well, you're going to need to put it around front here at the generator in those tanks on the other side of the generator. Then you're going to want to bring your grain around the mill. This is where your pallets of flour are going to spawn in. And you're going to dump your grain right here. And we move on. So I've already mentioned you can't fill your vehicles from the fuel station at the dock. Well, that's because you can fuel them over here at this small convenience store. Right here. Or you can fill them over in town on the other side of the ridge. Now we have basically circled our way around 100%. The shop is right over there to our right. We're going to continue on past the solar farm. No, the solar farm does not give you money per hour. Sorry. And we're going to make our way over here to the chicken farm and the Churn Farm Historical Society Visitor Center, which I do want to swing into because I want to show you the old PDA of Churn Farm. And Churn Farm, the map, goes back all the way to Farm Sim 11. So this map has its roots 10 years old. This part of the map does not look 10 years old now, does it? Must be nice having money. The director of the Historical Society has got himself a vet. So here we are. Visitors Information Center. Oh, you need some maintenance. And here is the old Churn Valley. This is the old Churn Farm map as it existed in FS11, 15, 17, and part of Eastern Shore, USA in 19. Now, let's remember to buy this area before we go inside of it. So inside of here, we have then the chicken coop. We have our food trough for our chickens. We have our egg spawn point. And inside of here, we have our buy point for 30 chickens. We have some buildings we can make use of. We have a pair of greenhouses. You bring your water to the back. You dump your manure in the front. Inside, then you'll get some money per hour. You do have a water tank available to you. Some nice garages. I'm looking for barn finds. And then you have a farmhouse, again, with a sleep trigger. Now, this farmhouse is a little tricky. To navigate, you got to go up the second floor, and then skirt around here, and then you have your sleep trigger. All right, that is going to do us for the old part of the map. Now we're going to move into the new part of the map. It's like 2 map tours in one. That's what a 4X map is. And once again, if we go to our garage, you're going to see we own a lot more buildings now because we have now bought all of those other farms. Chicken fences, other fences, junk, bale stacks, sleep triggers, farmhouses. And we're not even done. So right here, this was a wall, and that was basically as far as you could go in the old map. And now we are in the new map. So this side of the map is still has some hills to it, but is, I would say, substantially flatter than the old historical Churn Farm area. Back here we can buy bulk manure and slurry for really cheap. And then we have our animal dealer trigger around back. As I said during the fly around, there is a Joskin's trailer there that you can make use of. So there we have the animal dealer. And then our bale sell point is right here. Literally right here at the gate. You're going to need to back up your bales right to the gate, and then you'll be able to sell them. You can see traffic is a bit faster on this side of the map. Up there on the hill is that old farm, old barn. Sorry, yeah, the old farm that I mentioned that you can buy the land and clear off all of that and start making use of it. Here we are coming into the town, and there is a ton of stuff going on here in town. Here you have the local Exxon station, where you can get yourself some fuel. This AmeriGas tank is where you're going to buy your bulk propane. Across the street, this is where you're going to buy your bulk anhydrous. Across the street, this is where you're going to buy your bulk liquid fertilizer and herbicide. One product on one side, one product on another side. Over here we have a sell point. We have Murphy's Farmers Market. And then down here, we have the ability to buy bulk seed from this location right here. This area across the way, I believe it is just kind of abandoned decorative. Same with Organic Solutions. No, sorry, Organic Solutions is a sell point for compost. So this is where you want to bring your compost to sell it for quite a profit. This is where you're going to buy bulk solid fertilizer. Right there under the belt. We continue on. This is going to be one of your grain sell points. East Coast Grain Solutions. Now remember, all of these buy points and sell points close at very specific hours and open at specific hours. I would not suggest putting anything under the triggers because when they close, well, the triggers get blocked off. Here we have Charlie's Equipment Repair. It is a maintenance trigger. There are also transport contracts that will involve several of these locations in town. Here we have a building plot. You can put down more production down there if you want. Put your own farmhouse there. If you buy this plot, you can sell the house that is partially constructed and put your own down. Here we have another corn dryer. This one is of a bit different design. You have your propane tank there, your grain dump here, and your corn output right there. This is also buyable land for $11,500. And then there are also 3 bins here that you can make use of. This one is empty. This one is empty. And this one is fairly full. Well, 1,200 liters of corn. Oh, next we have the large dairy farm. You have some nice big fields here. You can merge them together should you so wish. There is a train that moves across, or a couple trains that move across this part of the map. Those trains are not drivable. They are just decorative. We have a flower greenhouse here, manure and water. Get you some income per hour. We have the farmhouse right there, as well as a little garage. And the sleep trigger is up there. We're not gonna go up there, but that is where the sleep trigger is located. So here we have another pair of silage fermenters. 34,000 liters of silage in that one. 53,000 liters of silage in that one. And this one actually has 31,000 liters of chaff, grass, and alfalfa. So this one's still cooking, if you will. Over here at the dairy barn, we have our milk loading point. We have our manure and slurry point. We have a fuel tank, lots of machine buildings scattered around that we can make use of. Here we have our food trigger and our straw trigger. Around the side, we have our cow buy point. Of course, we have to buy the land before we can make use of any of this. 30 cows in this particular building. This is a multi-level building, so we can actually make use of the top for machine storage and whatnot. We have our water trough, feed trough, kind of dual. Oh, sorry, this is our straw trigger. This is not our feed trigger. Feed trigger's here, our straw trigger's there. And then we have an open pasture right here. 50 cows. Of course, you can move cows between these areas with an animal trailer. We have our water trough, and then we have our food trough right here. Now you'll see this road that kind of wraps around. It's going to come around here to another field. There's also some more buildings over here. This is an old abandoned, kind of like an old barn. You can make use of this, I believe, if you are confident it won't fall down. Or you could sell this if you wanted to and put something down here, maybe a bit more sturdy looking. And that is the big dairy farm over here on the new part of the map. Up next, the contractor area. So this is where all of the machinery that you have at the start of the map, or at the start of your game save, is located. You'll notice none of these farms have any of the machinery. That's because it's all hidden away over here at the contractor yard. And as I said, the idea behind the map is that when you start, you own no land. You're basically visiting. That's why you're staying at the Historical Society's house. And you are then basically able to work as a contractor from the contractor yard, which is just on the other side of the railroad tracks. Now, if you want to know where the map border is, it's right there. So well done, kind of infinity border. The map just appears to go on and go on and go on. So here is all the machinery you get at the start. Cultivator, your spreader, your mower, your baler, seeder. The 6R, 6M, sorry, the case. And then inside of here, you have your trailer. And there's actually some product in here. I believe there's some fertilizer inside of this silo. The dump station there. We'll go ahead and drive under it and just validate what is in it at the start. So we have seed, lime, fertilizer, basically to get you going, as well as the seed, lime, or the seed, the fertilizer, the liquid fertilizer over at that kind of abandoned area over on the old farm. Then, of course, the arable farm. Once you buy that, you'll be able to make use of the seed in those buildings. And when you buy those farms, you'll be able to make use of crop that are also located in there. Now we need to continue on down this road to the last few bits of the map. There's a lot going on this map. A lot is available to the player. Now, this area up here, I do not think that you can actually buy that up there. I think that's just an AI farm. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, you can't buy that land, but you can buy the apple orchard, which we're about to go to. So there are fields on either side of the road here. Obviously accessible from that bridge. And as I mentioned in the flyover, this particular facility serves a few purposes. One, it is a sell point, I believe. One, it is coastal feed, a sell point. Two, it is a pig food buy point right there. And three, it is a bulk lime buy point underneath here. Off we go. So directly over there is one of those abandoned fields. That's actually where we're going to be looping around to. It has kind of withered crop in it. Has some trees growing up in it. You're going to need to plow up the soil before you can really make use of that area. There's going to be a few of those fields like that scattered around. A fair bit of dense forest also on this map. I forget the total tree count, but it is multiple thousands of trees. And each one of these trees will take manure and water, and they will produce crates of apples. Be sure to own this land before putting down manure and water. Because if you do not, then technically you do not own the apples that the trees create. And then if you go and try to sell those apples, you will not get any money for them. So if you don't get any money for them, then you kind of know that you didn't buy that land. Here you have kind of some old growth forest, and just on the other side of that forest is the old part of the map. Over here we have this big grass area. This is all part of that idea of clear the land and carve up your own fields, flatten it out, landscape it, whatever you want. Now, off in the distance, we have the facility that we were just looking at. Here we have a pair of bins. Or not a pair of bins, one bin. Sorry. That we can make use of. This is not on buyable land, but I'm pretty sure you can use this bin. Yep, it's coming up as empty, so you can use it. Let's go check out the sawmill. So the sawmill is for only selling of logs. You cannot sell wood chips up here. You have your log sell trigger right there. And you're going to have to go inside the building to activate the sell logs trigger. And next stop is the horse farm. Well, thank you for sticking around and watching this part of the video. I know we are going way long, but there is a lot to cover on this map. There's a lot of features and functions of this map. It's very important that you understand those before you try to play on the map, or you just might get yourself frustrated. Again, if you are missing any of these buildings that I am showing you, then it probably means that you loaded the map up with one or more missing mods. And if that's the case, go back, make sure you've put all of the mods that came with the download into your mod folder and activated them all. So here we are at the horse farm. Go ahead and buy it for $60,000. Got some nice sheds over here. And one last time, again, you can sell every single building on every single one of these farms, as well as the trash. We have a maintenance trailer. Another nice rusty Brock bin. Should have some oats in it. 49,000 liters of oats. We have our horse area, so we have our food trough. We have our horse delivery point right here. 5 horses. We have our water trigger right there. And our straw trigger, I believe, is also inside of here. And it just so happens if you are riding the horse, we learned during testing, you need to take your horse inside of the building to return him to the pen. Just like every other farm, we do have a farmhouse right there. And I believe I do not recall. Right there's your sleep trigger. For this particular farmhouse. Now we have the egg sell point to cover, and then we will kind of just drive over into some of this barren land. Again, the barren land is designed for you to be able to buy and place whatever you want. If you want to expand your own operation, if you don't like any of the farms, any of the setups that are completely customizable, then you can just set yourself up over here. So we have the diner over here at the lake, and they will want to buy your fresh eggs around back. There are, as I said, some buyable plots here around the lake that you can buy and put in a vacation home or whatever you should so wish. One of those said plots is right here. You'll have to clear it, or you can obviously put your house down. Another one of those areas is right here. And then I think the last area, I think that is the last area. Like I said, you've got a boat ramp, and then you have all of this area to cut down trees, develop, do whatever you want with. But do be aware that there is the magical map collision, map border out here at some point. So if you get too far out here, you're just going to run into the map edge. So you want to have the map edge well defined before you reach it. Guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Eastern Shore USA? Again, this is a 4X map. It is available for PC only. You can download it over at simplysafemods.com down in the description below. Be sure to unzip the download and place all of the mods in your mod folder, and be sure to activate them all. Also, be very careful that you do not update any of those particular mods, because several have been customized to work with this specific map, and therefore if you update them, you will likely wipe out all of those customizations, and then they will cease to function for the map. And until next time, happy farming.